Well, guys, I just went out and picked. Yes, I did. Yes, Lilybit. I'll see if there's anything for you, okay? What about you, Gracie? Are you hungry too? Well, Papa was out picking today. Yep, thankfully. It looks like we'll get some more to harvest. But it could as well as easily been the last harvest. Well, y'all are fortunate. You got your kibble. And soon, you will have one of your treats. Papa, on the other hand, has got to try to grow him some fresh. Isn't that right, Gracie? You're just going to primp up, aren't you? While Lilybit gets all the attention. Yeah. Well, let me show our friends and family just what we got today. Well, as you can see, I've got my picking bags here. And we finished up the harvesting. Not only today, this being Sunday, but yesterday as well too. And what do we have? Well, we have some okra. This we picked yesterday. I missed some, picked some more over here. Of course, I got a mess of green beans there. There's some cucumbers in this little bag, as well as a couple over here. And we got 3 yellow crookneck squash and a couple of gypsy sweet peppers. And that looks pretty good for my little old gardens. And oh, I forgot. And 2 small tomatoes. There you go. That's my garden food haul for this week. Yeah. And like I say, there is a substantial amount of food there. Will it feed the little old man and Lilybit and Gracie and the kitty crew over the coming week? Well, obviously, no. But I can take this, add a little bit of meat and other things to it, potatoes and what have you, maybe some rice or noodles, and I can make many meals throughout the coming week, that's for sure. But as I was picking my meager harvest today, it made me think. I'm sure we've all seen everybody talking, as they have been for several years now, about the food shortages, the bare shelves. It seems every major weather catastrophe that can be found anywhere in the world, any country, as well as any place here in ours, is brought up to strengthen the fact that we're having food shortages or we'll have famine, which none of us have seen in our lifetime here in the Americas, albeit famine exists somewhere in the world every day of every year, and that's just a fact. But what if this was the last harvest? Yeah. Not for this year, but forever. Let's talk about it, okay? Oh, well, there you are again, friends and family. So good to see you again out here in the backyard. Yeah. And I think you saw what we harvested the last couple of days here in our little piece of paradise in the deep south of Alabama. And for those of you who have been on the channel for some time, you'll understand we just plant a little bit, just enough to play with. We hobby garden for now. Have we gardened more spectacularly and more thoroughly in the past? Sure we have. But we don't anymore, because it's just me. You know, I plant some things I like beans, tomatoes, squash, peppers, cucumbers, zucchini, cantaloupes. Yeah, whatever I want. And I want to mess with. And it's not about survival for me. It's about something to keep me active. Something that I enjoy doing. So I can get out and get some exercise. Get outdoors. Get back loosened up. After being indoors all those winter months. You might be wondering what I mean by saying, could this be the last or final harvest. Well, y'all, we had to take a little intermission there and find another place to sit. Yeah, and we had one of those little pop-up showers too. Cruise on by, you know, one of those that's just enough to settle the dust. Yeah, and stop whatever you're doing, i.e. talking to all of you, my friends and family. So you see, just like you, we see all these things on social media. And for whatever reason, there's this fixation on food. I think it's because there's a primeval fear deep in with us that, hey, we don't want to starve. Hey, I think that's primordial or primordial in all vertebrates, don't you? Mammal and otherwise. You got to eat to survive. As well as you got to breathe and you got to drink. But it would seem, and it hasn't just been this year. This year they've really stepped up their game. But it was last year too, 2021. Sort of playing off 2020, you know, with everything that happened then. And in my mind, if we were indeed going to have massive food shortages, Americans would be starving all over the place and didn't have a meal, it would have been during 2020. Things started getting back to more normal, not all normal, in 2021. And you would think now, by August of 2022, things would be rocking and rolling pretty much to the same beat as they were in 2019. You'd think, but you'd be wrong. Yeah. Some of the excuses, and for the first times in my lifetime, I'm hearing about, supply chain issues. Yeah. That's that big bag that you throw everything into. It can be anything. It can be lack of trucks, lack of rail cars, lack of planes, lack of labor, lack of caring, lack of boats, ships, what have you. You can throw everything into those supply chain issues. That seems to be a common thread about why, when you go to the grocery stores at certain times, or in certain areas even, you'll see some bare shelves, some holes, some fronting, and some slim areas. All depends on the given day of the week, of the month, and the time of year. And it can be for a plethora of reasons. Truck didn't make it on time. Nobody was there to unload the truck. Nobody was available at the time you were shopping to stock the shelves. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. Most likely it's not because of the New World Order or, we're trying to reset the entire world, in my opinion. Yeah. And I still keep waiting every morning to wake up to all these ain't ever going to be no more. Just this year. Remember? No more diesel. That's just a couple of months old now. When diesel was just going to run slap out. Trucks were going to come to a halt. Then where will you be? You better be stocking it to the rafters. And people heeded those warnings. And they did just that. They spent their money and they stocked to the rafters. Is there anything wrong with that? Well, if you use it, no. And two, if prices keep going up instead of leveling and falling back off, well then, you'll have saved money. That'll be the worst that'll come of it. Here again, if you can use it before it all goes bad. All depends on how much stocking to the rafters you did. Me, I didn't do that much this time. Not to say I haven't done it in the past. If you've been with the channel for any length of time, I've shown you some of it. There is no fear that Mr. Tom here is going to starve. But here again, what if, for some cataclysmic, celestial reason, that yesterday, when I picked those veggies, that was it. It's all I'm ever going to get. And not only me, but all of you. And in all truth, for many gardeners this year, their last harvest was a month or two back. It's been a tough year. It's been a tough year for farming overall here in America, as well as in many other countries. But there are some bright spots, as there always are, because we're a large, diverse country. But getting back to that cataclysmic event, what if a meteor hit? You know, the size of the one that made the dinosaurs go extinct. Then what would we do? Could you possibly stock enough food to get through that? You know, it puts all that dust and debris in the atmosphere, blocks the sun for, years, maybe decades, maybe a century. Who knows? We weren't around to see. And the dinosaurs, I ain't talking. It could be that. Could it be a massive solar flare, CME, that hits the Earth and totally destroys the worldwide power grid? Well, there actually isn't a worldwide, but you know, every country's power grid. Sends us back to the Stone Age, like they say. Yeah, that'd be cataclysmic, wouldn't it? Or, as many are talking about now, nuclear war. As insane as that is, for anybody to contemplate actually having a nuclear war, I don't understand it. Because I know, for one, excuse me, that once one goes, or two or three, you might as well let them all go. It ain't going to stop with 1, 3, or 5. That's never been the thought and never been the strategy, and I will guarantee you this. It won't be if somebody lobs the first one. And then there's that real possibility that we'll create a nuclear winter. Why? Because here again, it's all that there debris and dust getting into the upper atmosphere, blocking the good old boy sun. To the point where, temperatures will fall off. In most regions, it'll be unsuitable to grow anything. In fact, it would be a nuclear winter and most likely the dawn of a new ice age. The same thing with that meteor thing whacking us pretty hard. But it could be even something of another nature that once came, like the Great Flood, which geologists have pretty much found evidence to say, yes, it did happen, whether you believe or not. Or could it be a plague? Remember the locusts in biblical times? There were so many locusts. Remember last year when there were so many in so many places in the world? We were already supposed to be starving. Yeah, they were going to eat all the food. Didn't quite happen, though they ate quite a bit. But yeah, if you're a believer, you know about the locusts in biblical times, and it did cause a famine among the peoples of the time. So, indeed, could it happen again? Sure it could. And there's fire. Look at all the wildfires they've had out west, just here in our country. Remember last year, the ones in Spain, Portugal, Sicily? Yeah. Burned up a considerable amount of ancient olive trees. Now, we all know olives are slim right now. And when you can find them, they're small and they're pricey. Just go look. I have. And who would have ever thought it? And talking about plagues, what about the avian flu? And our chickens and our eggs? Whether you believe it or not, or you think it's true, or you want to believe it's a control issue and control the food, control the people kind of thing. Yeah. So they can get their New World Order and their Great Reset going. Really doesn't matter. Chickens have been slim, prices have been high. Eggs have been slim, and prices have been stupid. There you have it. But remember, there's supposed to be this vast coffee shortage. Prices went up because people talked about it, said it would be. If there's coffee on the shelf, every time I go into a store, and pretty much everybody I know. But that don't mean at some point in time you might find the shelves a little bit slim to bear. Is it because we're out of coffee? No. You can actually look all this stuff up. Oh, butter. Butter's up 3 and 4 times the cost. Is there a shortage of butter? Absolutely not. But a perceived shortage also drives the prices up. Did we run out of oil? That was another one. Because, certain administration was shutting down drilling. Well, in all truth and honesty, they weren't shutting down drilling. They were shutting down permitting any new drilling. Yep, I'm an honest man. I'm not political. I just deal in facts. So magically, the gas price went here 1 cent from $5. In all my lifetime, the highest I ever seen it, $4.99. Now magically, it's back to $3.57. Where should it be? Oh, about $1.87. In all honesty, but everybody's having a parade because it's down to $3.57. And rightfully, all the prices on all the goods that supposedly rose because fuel had went way up stupid should be coming back down in time. We'll see. Oh. But there's, here again, so many reasons. No fuel for the tractors. That could cause a food shortage. Remember, there was going to be no more DEF anymore. DEF, that diesel exhaust fluid that all new trucks have to operate. Even though, rightfully, I'm sure some people were smart enough to figure out how to bypass that system and keep on trucking. Just saying. Well, that didn't materialize either. So, yeah, the tractors are still running. You can go right here on YouTube, and there are literally thousands, tens of thousands, probably maybe even 100,000 farming channels. Yeah, real farmers, not farmers that farm for YouTube, but they farm and made a YouTube channel to show you they're farming. Yeah, it's quite eye-opening. You might find it interesting. Just what goes on to get your Wheaties to the table, your potatoes, your bread, your rice, your maters. Yeah, there's all kinds right here on YouTube. And they're all going each and every day. And no, the government didn't pay them all to not make no food. Didn't happen. So it's not, because we don't have no diesel. It's not because the farmers were paid not to produce food. We got trucks. May not have enough drivers. We've had a driver shortage now for many, many years. I think the last I knew, our government was saying we were 65,000 short. Of course, that topic's sort of been quiet here of late, both on mainstream and social media. But there is, again, so many ways that our food supply chain could all of a sudden come to a roaring start, naturally or unnaturally. Think about this. Back in the previous century, the 20th, there was like 30 to 40% of the people here in America involved in our food production, from farming through the whole process. And that includes people involved in agribusiness, agri-manufacturing, chemicals, the whole 9 yards, just not the farmers. Prior to that, in the previous century, 19th century, there was as much as 80% of Americans involved in farming. Yeah. And it went even higher in the 18th century to nearly 90% of the people involved in farming and producing food of all types. I mean, think about it. The pioneers. What did they do? Make food, clear the land, make food. We don't do much of that anymore. In fact, now we tend to constantly let more and more farmland go fallow. And what you might not know, and I did a video about this, I think in 2018, 2019, there's now less than 2% of all Americans involved in all aspects of farming. 2%. Think about that one at night. Think about that one a little bit more than thinking about a meteor strike, a CME, an EMP, economic financial collapse. Yeah, a plague, the return of the locust, the great flood. Think about we as Americans, and the same is true throughout most of the Western developed nations, that 2% or less of the whole entire population of countries is what we all depend. You know, the 98 depend on the 2 to keep our bellies full. If anything's going to stop food production in our country or any of the countries around the world, it's when that 2% or less says, I'm done. I'm tired of the fight. It's hard work, it's unappreciative, and I quit. Then, my friends and family, you will starve. So what can you do? And that's what the people that irritate me, that bring up the many ways you're going to starve to death tomorrow. What can you do? Well, yeah. You can buy canned dry goods, canned wet goods, canned meats, canned veggies. You can buy bags of rice and bags of pasta, and you can put that all up in Mylar bags. You can vacuum out all the air, throw in some oxygen. You can do all that kind of stuff. You can get you 6 months supply built up. You can get you a year. Yeah, you want to keep going, you can go 2, 3. I mean, it's endless, just however much you want to put up. Space, money-wise. Yeah. If that's what you want to do. Even I don't want to do that no more. Now, I've got enough. I figure I can go for a while. I'll keep that while to myself. But this year, have I put anything else back? Stocked up anything else in relationship to food, i.e. any types of canned goods, dry goods, bulk supplies, meat, or what have you? The answer would be no. No. And you may wonder why. Well, for the last 3 years, I too have listened to all the ways we were going to starve. But it isn't just the last 3 years. It was the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. And yeah, somewhere in the world right now, as I'm running my yap, somebody is going to bed hungry. That's fact. For whatever reason. Somewhere in this world. And more often than not, it's in the undeveloped countries. Or underdeveloped, as we like to say. I.e. Africa, Central America, South America. But if you want to get picky, you can find that situation right here in America, if people choose it. Our homeless population. There is a large portion of America that's poor, that also make poor decisions, and may or may not spend their money appropriately. We all make bad choices in life. But I guess my point to this ramble was, because I get asked so many times, what can I do? I'm scared, I'm anxious, I don't have the money, I can't do like this prepper says, or this person says, or this other person I follow, and I'm scared. Well, I'm going to tell you what, and I'm going to leave a link to the latest report from the USDA. I'm not going to go through it all. I'm not going to do everything for you. And if you take the time, it's a few pages, and read down through it, you'll find some solace in the fact that, at least for this year and into next year, till we harvest again, you're not going to starve. Take it from me, and I'll stand behind it. Now, hey, I can't be responsible for the fact that you may make poor decisions. You may be in an accident, and your means of income may be taken away. There's many things that could personally happen to each one of us, and becomes our own personal SHTF situation. But I'm saying it's going to be there. Will it cost more than it costs now? That's a great possibility. Could it stabilize? Yes, it could. It has before. You see, there's a funny thing about data. You can go back and you can look at charts and graphs. I'll tell you one right now. And it's something that has affected me, and it's not food. But it affects this old house and what I wanted to do in my retirement. Lumber prices jumped 400% prior to the pandemic. And they had come back down to where they were maybe only 200%. Still stupid. And then they edged down to maybe they were only 100% more. And then they shot back up again. Well, currently, I'm saying currently, as of today when I looked, lumber prices are back to normal on the trading markets. And because it's there, doesn't mean it's in your retail stores. That will come months down the road, if indeed it comes at all. You see, I'm going to tell you a little secret about social media and the power it has. See, people can come on here and say something. They can go to their local Walmart on a day they know it's going to look like the day before a hurricane or a snowstorm. You know what I mean. All the milk, the eggs, the bread, the chips, the convenience foods, processed food, wiped out. Yeah, we all know what it looks like. And we all make fun of the people who supposedly run to the store every time there's going to be a hurricane, tornadoes, bad thunderstorm, or snowstorm. You got to go get your bread and your milk, right? Yeah, it's a running joke here in the U.S. But now think about it. With all the hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people on social media, not only YouTube, but Instagram, Facebook, and what have you, telling you this harvest here is not looking good. This analyst says this. This writer says this. This one says that. These analysts say this. And I'll say one thing about analysts. Nobody listens to them or wants to hear them. If it's just, hey, today in the markets are normal. All is quiet and well. Nobody's going to click. Nobody's going to listen. But if somehow they can snatch a little nugget out down there in Wetumpka, Alabama, corn's looking pretty sad. Wheat didn't look much better. Of course, I leave out the fact that right around the bend in the electric, they had bumper crops. You know what I'm saying? Maybe none of this makes any sense to all of y'all. But the bottom line is this. If indeed you wake up tomorrow, and for whatever reason, cataclysmic, universal, what man made or God made. Tomorrow's the final harvest. Are you prepared? Are you ready? And have you understood that the last final harvest isn't about food, but about much, much more? And with that, I'll leave you to think about that. Some of you will catch it and know what I mean. Exactly what the last harvest truly means. But hey, that's enough me rambling out here in the yard. And I got the evening water to get doing. Because yeah, it's not my final harvest. And won't be my last. No, I'm thinking we'll have many more harvests to come, even this year. And yeah, it's been a fight. We've fought every type of disease known to man. Maybe some new ones. And things are looking a little bit down from time to time. But there's always hope. Yes, there is. Will we have food yet to come? Yeah, it's looking like we might. Maybe even some to put back to enjoy through the winter months. But it's never too late. And I'll say this. If you got a balcony, a deck, a small yard, whatever you may have, it never hurts to start to learn to grow your own food. For that day when those who do that keep us all fed have, yes, their last harvest. They threw in the towel. And there'll be no more. It doesn't hurt to try and see what you can grow upon your place. If nothing more, it gives you a reason to get up, a reason to get out and start another day. Yes, it does. A reason to enjoy the fruits of your labor. There will always be fruits of your labor, if indeed you labor long and labor hard. For nothing, my friends and my family, comes easy. Nature has been said to be a hard mistress or a hard master. She'll fight you at every turn, it would seem sometimes. But there'll be others when she'll stand with you in unison and reward you with her bounty. And it looks like we've got more bounty to harvest again today. So yeah, I'm going to finish checking the plantings, because it would appear that I have yet to see my final harvest this year. There'll be more, plenty more, as long as I persevere. Well, some new tomatoes. Oh my. Many more to enjoy, I'm sure. Well, we're gonna head her on in and call this one done. It's getting close to time to have to get the kid crew's dinner all ready for them. Yep, bird feeders are all slap full again. Peanuts out for the squirrels. Yeah, trying to feed them their peanuts. Well, Speedy, what are you doing? Huh? You my baby? Are you my baby? You're my whiner, aren't you? Yeah, she is. But we love her. I'm not sure where the other kitties are. No, as I said that, I see one over there underneath the Buford. Spooky, you relaxing? I'm sure Mr. Gray's throwed up somewhere in the shade too, as well as Cleo. And, you know, Magoo too. He's somewhere. Oh, and just in case you didn't realize, we still have plenty of blueberries. Plenty. Yep. And they're darn right tasty. So hey guys and girls, ladies and gents, till I and Lilybit peeking through the curtains right there, and Speedy and Spooky and Cleo too, and somewhere Magoo with Heathcliff and Gracie too. See y'all on the next video. Y'all take care. Stay safe. And God bless each of you as you bless others in your lives. Come on, guys. You want me to go in and get you some food? Or are you just going to nap a bit more? Okay. Well, I'm going to go in and wash off my cherry tomato. Well, they are pretty. That's that black cherry. And they are yummy. They tomato tasting. Okay, guys. Lily's waiting on me. Later, all. Oh, and I had a surprise this morning. And it sort of relates very much to food as well. And that is right here. This magnificent goodie basket came this morning from Godwin's Flower. But that's not who sent it to old Mr. Tom. No, it was a good friend up in Pennsylvania. It's all full of great goodies. Healthy bananas, there's apples, and there's a lot of treats too. Honey buns, one of my favorites, oatmeal pies, peanuts, peppermints, and much more, I'm sure. I have to dig into it to see. But here again, doesn't look like Mr. Tom will starve anytime soon when he's got such good friends out there that show their love to him. I am ever so thankful. Saying thank you just doesn't seem enough. And I wish they wouldn't. For I worry about every one of you too. But I do hope this video finds you all safe, well, and happy in your homes with your friends and family. Till next we meet on the next video. Goodbye for now.